Soluble fiber supplements. There are way too many brands that claim that their specific supplement is somehow unique. But when it comes to weight loss, there are realistically only a handful of soluble fibers you should be considering. Soluble fibers are not all created equal, and just because something is considered a soluble fiber doesn't mean it'll work in the exact same or even similar way to another type of soluble fiber. So let's break down what I consider to be the best and worst soluble fibers for weight loss. Before we get into it, we need to know how soluble fibers can be useful for weight loss. There are 4 major reasons. Firstly, think of soluble fibers as natural stomach fillers. Once ingested, they create a thick, gel-like substance in your digestive system. This slows down the whole digestion process, making you feel fuller and more satisfied. As a result, you naturally consume fewer calories and experience reduced hunger. Moving on to the second reason, soluble fibers also help control nutrient absorption. The gel they form can attach to certain nutrients like fats and sugars, making them less likely to be absorbed by your body. This can lead to fewer calories being taken in, which supports healthy weight loss or maintaining a healthy weight. The third reason involves their impact on blood sugar levels. Soluble fibers can slow down the breakdown and absorption of carbohydrates so that they're released into your system more steadily. This lowers the chances of sudden energy drops, cravings, and overeating. The fourth reason relates to gut health. Think of soluble fibers as nourishment for your gut bacteria. They help to feed and support a healthy gut ecosystem. And it turns out a well-balanced gut can play a significant role in weight management and reducing the risk of obesity. While there may be additional factors at play like potential effects on hormones or metabolism, these aspects are more speculative and likely have a smaller impact on why soluble fibers are valuable for weight loss. With that in mind, let's explore the top soluble fibers I recommend for weight loss. First up is Glucomannan, a soluble fiber sourced from the cognac root. It's like the heavyweight champ of soluble fibers, being one of the thickest and most viscous. This thick consistency works wonders in making you feel full and satisfied, but may not be as well tolerated as some of the other fibers, frequently causing gas, bloating, and constipation when used. It holds a lot of water relative to its weight. This means you don't have to take as much of it compared to other soluble fibers to reap the benefits. Practically speaking, Glucomannan stands out because you can take it in pill form and still get results. Just 1 to 3 grams of this stuff does the trick, while other soluble fibers demand much larger doses to be effective. Keep in mind that Glucomannan's benefits mostly revolve around its physical properties as a soluble fiber. There aren't many other benefits such as nutrients that are sometimes found in the other fibers. Chitosan comes from chitin, the material that makes up the shells of crustaceans like shrimp, lobster, and crab. Chitosan fibers work in a slightly different way than other soluble fibers. They have a slightly positive electric charge to it, similar to static electricity. This charge attracts specific molecules such as cholesterol, enhancing its ability to bind to and lessen the absorption of certain nutrients. This means that even smaller amounts of chitosan, usually around 1 to 3 grams, can still be effective. While it's not as widely used as the other fibers, I believe it holds a lot of potential as a soluble fiber. Here's another great option. Psyllium husk is derived from a plant called Plantago ovata, which looks a bit like a shrub. Picture psyllium husk as a gentler and milder version of Glucomannan. If you're after a simple and versatile soluble fiber that can bulk things up physically, psyllium is a solid choice. It may not get as thick or soak up as much water as Glucomannan, but it's usually easier on the stomach. Plus, you'll find psyllium husk everywhere and it's quite affordable when bought in bulk. But here's the catch. Compared to Glucomannan, you'll need a fair amount of psyllium husk to really get the benefits. We're talking about 10 to 20 grams of the stuff. Now, fitting all that into a handful of pills, not exactly realistic unless you're ready to take like 10 or 20 of them at a time. That's why almost all soluble fibers has to be used as powders scooped into something rather than being taken in pill form. Inulin, another soluble fiber, usually comes from chicory plants. It's a handy option if you're looking for alternatives to psyllium husk, and like psyllium husk, it's often used to tackle constipation. The downsides are that inulin tends to be a bit pricier, and for some folks, inulin doesn't play nice in their stomachs. This is because inulin is highly fermentable, and our gut bacteria can ferment it to create a lot of gas and bloating in the process. Flaxseed is another fantastic soluble fiber. It's a great option, especially for women aiming to handle their weight. Why? Because flaxseed isn't just about fiber. It's also loaded with omega-3 oils and phytoestrogens, which can be extra helpful for women going through menopause or dealing with hormone-related issues that might play a role in weight gain. Here's the catch though. To truly tap into these added benefits, your best bet is to go for whole flaxseed and then blend or grind them up. Yes, it's an extra step, but it's worth it. If you choose pre-ground flaxseed powder, keep in mind that some of those extra nutrients and benefits are lost due to the processing. For an easy way to incorporate flaxseed into your routine, throw some whole flaxseed into a smoothie and blend it all together. It's that simple. Alright, let's talk about some middle-of-the-road soluble fibers. While I don't rate these as the absolute best, they still have their merits when it comes to helping with weight management. Oatmeal really stands out as the go-to soluble fiber in North America. It's a classic choice that's affordable and super easy to find. What's cool is that it's loaded with something called beta-glucans, a special compound that does wonders for our gut bacteria. But compared to the other soluble fibers we've covered, oatmeal has a bit less actual fiber per weight. A whole cup of oatmeal offers roughly the same amount of soluble fiber as 2 tablespoons of flaxseed. That means you'd have to consume much more oatmeal to get the same amount of soluble fiber. This is also why those supplements with tiny amounts of oatmeal extracts are kind of pointless. You'd need an entire cup or so of oatmeal to really feel the soluble fiber benefits. Still, a bowl of oatmeal is a fantastic addition to most diets. It's almost like a meal in itself and contains only a small amount of calories. Here's the thing though, oatmeal does pack a decent amount of carbs for a soluble fiber. So if you're keeping your carb intake in check, like if you're going for a keto or low carb diet, oatmeal may not be your best bet for getting your soluble fiber. Chia seeds are pretty famous for their ability to puff up and create a gel-like texture. Just like flaxseed, they're a nutrient powerhouse. Now, I wouldn't put them at the top of the list for weight loss since they lack the bulking power of glucomannan and they're also missing the phytoestrogens of flaxseed, but they do bring more nutritional value than some other soluble fibers. Now, let's do a quick rundown of the soluble fibers that might not be your best bet if you're aiming for weight loss. It's not that they're utterly useless or have zero benefits, they're just not very effective when it comes to appetite control or weight loss. Gums like guar gum, xanthan gum, or gum arabic are usually thrown into the mix as thickeners, giving foods a different feel. Unfortunately, the research tells us that these gums don't really play a role in controlling appetite or weight. Sea moss, also known as Irish moss, brings along a soluble fiber called carrageenan. Similar to the gums we talked about earlier, carrageenan is used to thicken up different foods. However, when it comes to weight loss, the studies indicate that sea moss and carrageenan are probably not much help. In fact, taking carrageenan out of your diet could potentially lead to better control over your blood sugar levels. Overall, if you're aiming to use a soluble fiber to support your weight loss, remember that even the top-notch ones won't magically shed pounds if you're not using them wisely. They're here to enhance that feeling of fullness, and they should be part of a well-rounded weight loss plan. That means taking them before or during your meals, with the aim of trimming down your overall food intake. They could also help to curb your snacking or overeating. But you've got to be actively working on cutting down how much you eat. It's not a magic trick where you take it and then just sit back and hope for the best. It helps you to reduce your food intake, but it won't force you to do it like some medications do. As long as you understand the right way to use these helpful soluble fibers, they can be valuable tools to assist you on your weight loss journey. Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Young. Do you use a soluble fiber and how have your experiences been? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date. And if you found this informative, please leave me a like and share this video with someone you know who needs the info.